On Thursday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the LA Chargers 34-28 in overtime. And this was a big win for Kansas City. This game had massive implications in the battle for the AFC West. If LA had won this game, the Chargers would be tied with Kansas City at 9-5 with 3 games left in the year. Instead, because they lost, Kansas City is now 2 games ahead of LA with only 3 games left. It's a big deal. And there are 2 factors I want to talk about in relation to how this game played out. One of them is overtime, and one of them is fourth down conversions. They're kind of intertwined. So LA went for it on fourth down 5 times. They only got it 2 of those 5 times. And they got stopped on 4th and goal 2 times in this game. In total, LA, the Chargers, had 3 trips to the goal line that got them 0 points. That is a big problem. They got stopped on 4th and goal twice, where they actually had the ball 1st and goal from the 5 2 times and did not score. Then they fumbled on a 3rd and goal from inside the 1-yard line. Joshua Kelly fumbled. LA had so many opportunities to win this football game. They even had a double pass where Mike Evans was wide open and Keenan Allen couldn't get on the ball. Now, did Mike Williams run too far downfield? Was he supposed to throttle down? I don't know what happened. It looked like there might have been a miscommunication. But either way, that's a big missed opportunity. You got to hit that. And I say all of that. You know, they got stopped in the goal line. They missed a big play on a double pass. I want to tell you that I have no sympathy for the Chargers losing this game. People are complaining that in overtime, LA never got the ball. Kansas City got the ball first in overtime. They scored. They got a touchdown. They won. Game over. And I get it. It would have been fun to see Justin Herbert get an opportunity to have a possession to maybe respond and tie the game up and keep the game going. But what I don't like is people acting like LA did not have plenty of chances to win this football game. This game should have never gone to overtime. I mean, don't forget, LA even had the ball with like a minute 16 left, tied 28-28. They had the ball at the end of the game with an opportunity to put together a drive to win the game, and LA couldn't do it. Like, Justin Herbert did have a possession at the end of the game with a chance to win. It just wasn't in overtime. So I don't like hearing the victim stuff or the, oh, poor me, or like, Marcus, the franchise guy on Twitter. I love that guy so much. But he's like, it really sucks Justin Herbert didn't get a shot to win the game. He had plenty of chances. And I think I mischaracterized what Marcus said, but I'm like, man, there's a lot of people out there going, LA didn't get the ball in overtime. I hate this. And I get it, but let's not pretend that the Chargers didn't have a ton of opportunities to win this football game. Plus, Kansas City even handed a touchdown literally to LA. Patrick Mahomes had the ball 3rd and 2 on his own 9-yard line. Ball got tipped, got picked off. It gave LA 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. The Chargers had so many opportunities to win this game. They had 4 opportunities to get field goals and chose not to. They got stopped on 4th down in times where they could have kicked instead, and if they kicked one of the field goals, that would have been the difference in the game. They would have won. And by the 4th time, I like going for it on 4th down, but maybe by the 4th time, you're like, hey, are we really going to pass up another field goal? Maybe you just kick the field goal. Like there's a point where you run into a wall and you're like, we're trying the same thing over and over again, and it isn't working. And I like going for it on 4th down, but optically, you got to answer to your fan base, and you don't want your fan base to mutiny and get angry every time you go for it on 4th down. You want going for it on 4th down to be something that's exciting and people rally behind, rather than something people think is a big problem with your football team. And I got to say, I like going for it on 4th down. I hope that this game does not result in Brandon Staley, the head coach, and the Chargers deciding to not go for it on 4th down in the future, because going for it on 4th down puts a lot of pressure on the defense. They go, oh my gosh, we just got to stop on 3rd down. We got to do it again. And when you have 4 opportunities, 4 downs to get a 1st down, it gives your offense so many more options. Like, you can do way more. Instead of on 3rd and 11, if you don't need to throw for 11 yards, you can throw for 8, take what the defense gives you, sets up 4th and 3, you're going for it. There's so many situations. 3rd and 6, hey, it's okay to throw your check down and get 4 yards because on 4th and 2, you're going for it. It's a massive advantage to go for it on 4th down. I really love it. I like the options it gives you. I just hope that people don't look at the outcomes of this game and say, oh, we can't go for it ever again, because if LA gets one of those opportunities, they probably win the game. But what I'm not here for is people pretending like LA didn't have a bunch of opportunities to win this football game. And I want to say this about NFL overtime. I understand people are frustrated when one team gets the ball first, they score, the game ends, the other team never gets an opportunity to respond. I understand why that's frustrating. But the NFL does not want longer extended football games. Number one, it's a time problem. They don't want to be baseball, having these 4-hour, 5-hour games that go on and on and on and never end. The other thing, and it's hard to argue that the NFL cares about safety given what's going on with the COVID outbreaks and they're not moving games back. They're money driven, first and foremost. Absolutely. But the safety concern with overtime is the more snaps you play, the higher risk you are, the higher a risk you have of getting injured. As overtime works now, currently what it does is it works to quickly decide a winner. If 4 quarters isn't enough, you get 10 minutes, and that's it. And that's almost the length of a quarter. That's 2/3 of a quarter length anyway, 15 minutes. And the only thing I hate about NFL overtime is tying. I don't mind that if you get the ball first and you score, hey, fine, you deserve to win. Because the other team had literally an hour, 4 quarters, an hour of playing time. They had a chance to win. They couldn't win in 4 quarters. So now you get the ball first, you win. Fair enough. But what I hate is if 10 minutes go by, no one scores, or they're tied 3-3, then we tie. That is terrible. I hate that. Because ties don't help anybody. It just hurts both teams. And I think if it's still tied after 10 minutes of overtime, we should do what college football does, which is to have maybe do 2-point conversions until one team is the winner, something like that. I like that. Let's not have ties, but let's not overreact and be angry at overtime. And definitely do not make the argument that LA didn't get a real opportunity to win that game because they had so many opportunities. They got handed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and they lost. Now, I want to give a shout out to Kansas City. They made a comeback. They put together a drive in a 2-minute scenario to tie the game. Travis Kelce, their tight end, had 10 catches for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 2 big runs after the catch, including the game-winning touchdown in overtime. One went down to the 1-inch yard line. It almost was a touchdown. Travis Kelce is amazing. Tyreek Hill had 12 catches for 148 yards and another touchdown. I got to say, it's unbelievable the production that KC gets out of these two guys. It's crazy. Their whole offense basically predicates on Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill making big plays. And Kansas City even missed some opportunities. They had a touchdown to Mecole Hardman on 4th and 1 from the 2-yard line, or 1.5-yard line basically. And Patrick Mahomes threw the ball into the ground. Both teams had a lot of chances here. I'm really just not here for the no one got a fair chance. Also, I will say, Justin Herbert against Patrick Mahomes, KC versus LA. These two teams and 2 quarterbacks are going to play each other 2 times a year for a long time, and I'm very grateful. Football is better for it. It's fantastic. It's always fun when these 2 teams play each other. I feel like it's always a good game. It's always close. It's always interesting. And I don't know if rivalry is the right word. I think a rivalry needs some hatred or some anger or something there. There's not really an edge to this rivalry yet, although it has time to develop over the years as they go on. But every single time KC plays LA, it's an amazing game. It's fun. It's exciting. It's interesting. And I just, from a football standpoint, am grateful that this battle or rivalry or whatever you want to call it exists. It's really, really awesome. Now, there is one final uncomfortable thing we have to talk about from this game. LA tight end, former XFL standout for the Dallas Renegades, I believe. I think it was the Dallas. I think they were called the Renegades. I don't really. It's funny. I remember the XFL so vividly. I covered it and I already forgot one of the team names. Donald Parham, the Chargers tight end, got hurt on a play on 4th and goal. It looked like he hit his head on the. It wasn't like he took a crazy hit. It looked like he hit his head on the turf actually. Got a head injury, and it was terrifying. He was out cold. He was laying there just out of it, and his hand was twitching. And the update on that is he did get a really bad concussion. He is in stable condition. As the last I heard was they're planning to release him later today, which is Friday. One thing I want to say about this that I thought was very weird. Broadcaster Joe Buck said something. He goes, because Donna Parham's hand was twitching as they took him off on a stretcher, which is horrifying. And Joe Buck goes, well, maybe he's shivering because he's cold. And I'm like, oh, we're playing indoors in LA. What are you talking about? And it was actually so absurd and weird. I almost wonder if maybe someone like a producer or the NFL itself said, hey, Joe, you better say that maybe he's cold because we don't want the audience to really understand how bad this is. I don't know. I like, did he get told to say that? Because it's so out of left field. It's so weird. If I got the order to say that, I'd be like, I'm not saying, no way, you say it. I'm not saying that. I'm not putting my credibility on. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know what that statement was. It was very weird. I'm glad, and I don't even know. I'm glad. I'm hoping Donald Parham does end up okay. It was really scary, and I would be jarred. Like watching the rest of the game, and even if I was playing in that game, I'd be a little hesitant anytime I got the ball. I'd be like, I don't want to get my bell rung. And the whole situation involving Donald Parham was uncomfortable, and then Joe Buck made it even more uncomfortable. So I'm hoping that Donald Parham comes back from his concussion and is okay in the long run. It was one of the more uncomfortable injuries I've seen in a long time in football.